Hey everyone, my name is David Rao, and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, and a variety of other places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter Music Education. I'm so excited to be sharing again tonight. I know it's a holiday, but I'm sharing because this is the week that I go back to school. I have students starting tomorrow, so all my lesson plans have to be done, so I'm ready to share some of those lesson ideas, and more than that, I'm hoping to share some of the processes, how you might consider structuring your lessons, how the things you might consider doing. I'm in a hybrid schedule, which means some kids in person, some kids online. So if you're an all online or all in person or hybrid, hopefully you'll be able to get some ideas out of tonight's live video. So a couple quick things. If I'm talking about resources or technology or something else and I say it's on the links page, what I mean, if you're on there's a page on my blog, makemomentsmatter.org, that has all of the links to things that I'm talking about in this video so that you can go find them and use them for yourself if you want. To get there on Instagram, you go to my link in profile, you go to my profile, there's a link at the bottom of the profile and you click it, and then there's a thing that says Musical Mondays live video, or you can just go to my website, makemomentsmatter.org. Facebook, at the bottom of the caption for this video, you should be able to click on that link that says, here's the link. Or you can go to my website too, makemomentsmatter.org. Okay, so that's that. So I am going to be talking about some stuff in just a second. Also, if you have questions through the week or you want a community where you can bounce ideas off of people, on Facebook there's a group called Every Moment Matters at Music Education Community. Great place to ask questions, get ideas, find new friends. So check it out. I hope it's a great place to continue our conversation about what works and maybe what doesn't work. This week I was like, hey, I need a platform to do like an interactive quiz. What are your favorites and why? And there were some people like Flipgrid, and people were like, there's this other thing, and I can't remember any of the other names. I went and tried out Flipgrid, and I have a couple others I need to try out too. But just so you know that there's that community there on Facebook if you're looking for another place to get ideas or make friends or have more connections throughout the week. Okay, so before I get into how I'm doing my lesson planning, what's going into my lesson plans, I wanted to talk about some of the tech that I'm using. I know I've shared all this before, but I'm using them so heavily this week that I was like, I'm just going to mention it again just in case. So a couple things that have really saved me and been really helpful. I record a lot on my phone because I have an iPhone. It has a great camera, a really pretty good microphone. It makes life easy to record. You can use a document camera, you can use the camera on your computer, but if I'm not doing something live, like if I'm, even now I'm doing something live from my phone, but like if I'm doing something for my students where I get to pre-record, like a read aloud or introducing a song or something where it's pre-recorded, I use my phone. Because it's just so fast and simple. I can transfer things off, I can email things, I can do whatever I need to, I can put them on cloud storage, so I use my phone a lot. But one of the things that I use that makes my phone a little bit better, and it's going to change things here because I'm going to pull it out, I'm currently using it, is this little bitty microphone. I think it's a Movo brand, I don't remember. I bought it on Amazon. It was not that expensive. It does have like a headphone jack, so if you plug into a headphone jack on your computer or an iPad or something, this will improve the quality of the sound. If you have a lightning port, it comes, well, no, actually, I don't think that it does come with this anymore. It did when I bought it like 2 years ago, but you need this little adapter. This comes with your iPhone. You can find versions of this pretty much anywhere. But when you connect that into your iPhone or when you connect that into your device, it just makes how you're recording a little bit better. And maybe Facebook people will be able to hear this in just a second, the difference, I don't know. It's that much better. I feel like there's a slightly better quality of sound when I use it versus when I don't. But it makes me as a teacher feel like, oh good, I'm putting forth the effort to make a little bit better sound. So I put a link to that on the links page. I actually have a list on Amazon with like tons of different tech things, but it's on the link to this is on the links page too. Okay, so that's one of the things that I use because I use my phone and my iPad now a lot, my school iPad, I use it a lot. So the microphone helps a little bit. One of the things that I also do is I'm recording a lot of books and doing read-alouds, and I'm also planning on doing like stuff like what you might use a document camera for, where you want like an above view So you can show kids sort of what you're thinking or how you're processing through things. And so there are a lot of different things you can buy to make that happen. If you have a document camera at school, which is just a camera that can go up high, that's great. Use that. But if you want a document camera at home, you can use your phone again. And I've shared about this before, but there's this this swing arm. It looks sort of like an old timey lamp, like the lamp from Pixar. Not old timey, but whatever. Okay, so it clamps to your desk right here, or to whatever you want put it on. And you put your phone right in here, and this can swivel and move, and then you can just raise it up so that then your phone is up here and it's looking straight down and you record. So earlier today I was recording some read alouds. Here was my phone. I had the microphone clipped right in, and the nice thing is because it extends or not, or gets smaller, you can get a really big book. So on my desk I had, Wendell the Narwhal was out, and this makes it really easy to record that. The reason I like that, you can find some other things that are different. I don't have any of the other sort of options I used to use around here. You can find some that look like a snake sort of a thing. I don't like those because I feel like they move or shift too easily, and this is just so sturdy that it makes it so easy and it doesn't move, if that makes sense. And this was like $20, $18, I can't remember what it was. There's a link to that on the links page too if you want. It does come with just a phone attachment. I actually got one originally from Amazon that was like, it can be a phone, it can be an iPad, but my iPad fell out like 3 times and I was like, yeah, this doesn't work. So I got the one that was a dedicated phone one, and I'm really not using my iPad for document camera stuff, so I'm okay with just using the phone part here. I see you're asking, are you doing picture-in-picture or just the book? I'm doing just the book. You could do picture-in-picture if you wanted. That's just another step. So I'm not adding. I'm trying to simplify as much as possible. So anyway, this has been a great lifesaver. And the last thing, I am using my iPad a lot for my school's using Apple Classroom and Schoolwork, which is an Apple app. And there's a lot, or we're also using iDocument, and there's a lot of inputting information on your iPad. And for me, that's a drag because I don't like typing on my iPad. And so I got this simple little Bluetooth keyboard. It uses AAA batteries. It looks almost like an Apple keyboard, but it's not. And it pairs really easily. It pairs with my phone, it pairs with my iPad, and it just makes inputting information onto my iPad like a gajillion times faster. And then I hooked it up to my phone and I was like super duper fast texting off of my phone. Anyway, it was a good time, but this keyboard makes it really easy. So yeah, these are just 3 things: the microphone, the swing arm, and the keyboard that make doing this digital thing so much easier. Also, I'm hoping this would be nice in case I need it in the classroom, like if I need to input something and I'm using my phone or I'm projecting from my iPad or something, or mirroring from the iPad in a classroom with students. Instead of going over and fiddling with the iPad, I can walk around and use this if I need to. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities for it, but I have a friend who teaches a class full of iPads, like she's an iPad teacher, a tech teacher, and she swears by this. So if it's worked for her and not fallen apart, hooray. Okay, so those are my 3 fun tech tips. Those are all on the links page. If you're interested in them, you can find them. You can get them on Amazon. They're not back ordered right now. The swing arm was sold out and then came back from a different seller, or I don't know. But if you have trouble finding them, let me know. Renee is asking, do you know what models it's compatible with? The keyboard or the swing arm? Or the swing arm's really easy because it extends. So if you have a different size phone or whatever, it'll fit. The keyboard works with anything that has Bluetooth. Sure. I think it works with anything that has Bluetooth. It's worked on my iPad. It's worked on my old iPad, which is a dinosaur. It works on my phone. It's worked on my computer. I tried that. So I think that it's compatible with whatever. But if you follow the link to the Amazon thing, I'm sure it'll tell you with the specifications of what it works with. Cool. Oh, and then someone merely asked, are you still adding lessons to the Weebly.com page? I haven't been, because I've been trying to get my own lessons going, but once I have those going, I'm going to try and add more things to the Weebly page so that you can sort of see them in a different format. But it's just been like all hands on deck. By that I mean my hands on my computer and everything else, trying to get my lessons going, and my room set up and whatever. So I just haven't been adding recently, but I will be in the future. Okay, so that's some quick tech things. I want to spend most of today talking about how I've been planning, how you might consider planning, some lesson ideas, and then get into some of the meat of like, these are the actual things I'm going to teach, because I feel like that's everyone's question. What are you going to teach? I don't know. So I finally had to figure it out, so I wanted to share that. But I wanted to share, so my rules for myself this year are: be flexible, say yes and. That's like an improv acting thing. Yes and, what can you add? So yes, I can do that for you. How else can I help? Or yes, I can do that for you. Ooh, what's this fun? There's another fun connection I was thinking of. Yes and. Give yourself grace. I'm not good at the grace I'm fine with. Don't go overboard. That's the rule for myself I'm working on. I maybe have been feeling a little overwhelmed because I've been trying to do too much. So I need to work on that one. What I shared last week, when I go through my lesson plans, when I'm planning, one of the things that I do is I pull out my old lesson plans and I remind myself, and I ask myself, what can you pull from these lesson plans and do as is? What can you shelve for later in the year? And what can you adapt? So I've honestly been going through my lesson plans for the last couple of years, and I've been trying to like pull out like, ooh, I can use that. Or like, ooh, I can't use that, but I'm going to save it for later. I'm going to remember, I'm going to leave myself a note. Or I'm going to use this, but I have to change it. But I'm going through so that I'm not like working completely from scratch. I mean, it feels like it, but I'm not. I'm really taking things that I've used in the past and trying to adapt and change. So that's what I've been thinking as I look at old lesson plans. What can I pull and use now? What can I shelve for later? And what can I adapt? So my process, let me just show you. It starts with a lot of piles of stuff. So I go through, I've been pulling out all my books that I really love, all my favorite lessons. I've been pulling out like my Lynn Kleiner books that I know I can pull great stuff from, and my ORF levels and my ORF workshops, and I've been pulling picture books that I know that I love. I've been pulling in some of my favorite songs, all of that stuff, and just sort of stacking it so that I know like this is where I can pull from and work from. ORF source, all sorts of stuff like that. And then I sort of try to compile by grade levels. And one of the things that my state of Kansas did this year was they rearranged and changed curriculum so that the curriculum is banded, which means like if you're a kindergartner or first grader, like you're getting sort of some of the same standards so that you don't feel as stressed to have, like, I got to teach this one very specific standard. They're saying like, well, anywhere between K and 2, you can sort of get to these things, and that's fine. So I've been thinking about like, what are my lesson elements that could work for multiple grades if I want it, at least in this first rotation, so I'm not killing myself to get stuff out there. How can I adapt and use in different ways? So I'm pulling that sort of all together, and then I start thinking about what fits in what grade level or what fits in what band, like what goes where. And I for sure pull out like my curriculum. So state curriculum, district curriculum, national standards for music ed. I've also been pulling out my school curriculum, so like my homeroom teachers, what they're working on in the first quarter and first semester, so I know that like, ooh, there's a chance for me to collaborate on westward expansion, or there's a chance for me to collaborate on conjunctions, or they're talking about ancient Egypt or whatever. It helps me sort of think in my head like, ooh, but I do sort of have a lesson about that. So I'm pulling all that together as I plan. And then I make one of these very like super nice, very organized sheets. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, sorry. Here, let me see if I can do that trick again on Facebook, and I can't do it on Instagram. I'm so sorry. I just can't do it. I don't know. I think I can flip on Facebook so you can see and not see backwards. Okay, I think that did it. So words should be correct now. We'll see. Okay. Ooh, there we go. Sorry, Facebook. Hope you're still there. Okay, so very, very concise, perfect planning sheet. This is just scratch paper. On one side, I put a line down the middle. On one side, I said in-person lessons. The other side, I put online lessons. And then sort of down here in the corner, I put some of the standards and things. So like musical opposites, steady beat, pitch exploration, pitch matching. These are things that I would try and hit in a normal year. And then so I try and like fit in like, okay, this lesson would maybe go on the in-person thing. I think I could still do it. This one I have to do online because I need that, whatever. So this sort of helps me, again, going from the stack, the pile of random resources, then going into the grade level. So now I've got my grade level. So now I'm sort of shifting it again just a little bit like in-person or online, so I can sort of see again like where can things go, because I feel like for me the worst thing I can do is be like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Like, at least this organizing of like options makes me feel like there's so many possibilities of things to do, as opposed to like, I don't know what I'm going to teach, and I never, like I'm not helpless. I've got like tons of resources. It's just sort of organizing them and going from that great mass of stuff to more organized. So I go to this, and then when I'm really ready to like really make it happen, I have a much more detailed sort of a lesson sketch of in-person, online, and how would that work, and what would I need to do with that. And I'll get to that in just a second. So my school, as I've mentioned on previous weeks, we're doing a hybrid, and the way we're doing that hybrid is from Monday to Friday, there are kids on Monday, Tuesday, half of the class. Wednesday is fully online. The other half of the class comes Thursday, Friday. And a lot of you are in that same boat, right? So you have in-person, the same kids Monday, Tuesday, day off on Wednesday, separate kids on Thursday, Friday. That's how our week goes. And then our actual like curriculum week starts on Wednesday. So the way that we're planning it is like, we're going to start with a full class Zoom meeting on Wednesday that sort of kicks off the week. And then Thursday, Friday is our first 2 days. And then Monday, Tuesday is the next 2 days. But the reason we did that is so that like we can, as a full group, maybe we can like introduce a new subject, introduce an idea, introduce whatever on Wednesday. And then the next 2 days, those kids who are in person, will give them lessons. Those kids who are online will give them lessons. But they can all sort of be themed around the same thing if you're able to introduce it first on Wednesday. So that's sort of what is in my head as I'm planning. So I'm hoping on those Wednesday days to have something that will give us inspiration for my in-person lessons and my online lessons, so they're all sort of connected together. Okay, things I'm asking myself though as I'm going from sort of more vague idea, song, to where will that sequence, will that go in person, will that go online, where will that go, sort of. So things I'm asking myself are, what are the considerations I need to make? What do they need to know or do before I can teach that stuff? So like, what do I need to do in the Zoom lesson, or what do I need to do now so in my next lesson I can do the more complex thing? For my in-person lessons, what if the technology fails? For the online kids, I can't think about that. If the tech fails, we're really in trouble because they're fully online. So, but what I'm thinking about is, what do I do if the tech fails and I'm in the classroom and I was like, I was going to do a YouTube thing? Well, I got to have a book ready. I got to have a game ready that we can play. I got to think about an adapted thing that we can do, because so many of my go-tos from last year, like, we can just do a singing game. No, we can't, or maybe we could do it, but then we'd have to walk outside, like I got to think about that ahead of time. So what if the tech fails? What do I need to take with me into the classroom when I'm going in person? What are those things I know that I'm going to need? Not my recorder this year, but, what are some things I'm going to need? I'm over planning all of my lessons because I don't know what's going to fail. I don't know what's not going to work. I don't, so I'm giving myself more material than I will need, but I'm also like writing into the margins of my lesson plan, like, give yourself room to just talk to the kids if you, or to just process stuff, or to, I'm giving myself time, but I've got material, so I'm not freaking out. Because I think one of the things I get always scared about is like, well, what if I am there up in front with all the kids and I don't have anything to do? What do I do? So I'm giving myself lots of options, knowing that I can stop and break from them at any point. I'm also trying to think about, for my in-person kids, how can I incorporate movement? They're sitting at those desks for forever. how can I incorporate movement? So those are some things that I'm thinking about as I'm planning. My principal told me I can take the kids outside, and I am planning on not doing that as much as I can. Why? Because for me, I don't want to go outside because there are too many extra possibilities. So for me, it's like, well, what if it's too hot? Or what if a car drives by? Or what if I can't hear the office and there's a, tornado drill or intruder or whatever? Or what if, I can't reel them all back in because they're all looking at that, the football team came out and they're across the street. I don't know. So I just don't want those distractions. Also, I've been trying to structure and plan my lessons so all the things I would need to do outside, like singing and stuff like that, I'm going to be doing through the digital lesson. So I'm trying to plan all my stuff so all my in-person things are things I can do in the classroom. I'm trying. It's definitely interesting planning. But I'm just planning on not going outside because there's so many variables I can't control. I would rather have us in the classroom doing things that I know will work, or know that I have a backup, or know that we can do whatever, as opposed to outdoors. As fun as that would be, I don't want to be outdoors all day, every day. Okay. I'm also not planning on going into those in-person lessons like guns blazing with like my xylophones and hand drums and everything. I'm sort of paring it down. We're going to be doing some real basic stuff. We're doing, and I'll talk about that in just a second, but we're doing some more basic stuff, lots of body percussion, lots of like stand and move, lots of things that make sense for in-person learning and that I don't have to worry about. I got to sanitize 75 things between now and whenever. I'm trying to keep things manageable for my brain. Okay, I'm going to quickly a couple questions before I forget and move on. Ooh. Okay, options need to be my mantra. Yes, Linda. Options, options, options. What can you do? What are your options? Let's see. Love my shirt. Banana Republic Factory Outlet, because I'm so fancy. They have a lot of bike stuff. It's a fun time. Being on the cart in the classroom has completely changed my pacing. Yes. Kelly says plan lots of extra stuff. Absolutely. That is what I'm for sure trying to do. Give myself lots of things because I know things are going to fail and they're going to fall flat. I don't want to be standing up there going like, well, I guess we're going to watch YouTube. Oh, wait, no, the technology's not working. I guess we're going to read a book. Oh, wait, no, I'm out of book. So like I want to have lots of options. Okay, and I saw some other stuff was happening over here. How much are you practicing with body percussion? I'll try and address that in just a second. Totally happened to me. I grabbed my guitar and did a game of feel. I played the guitar and they had to tell me the feel and where the emphasis was. Oh. That, I'm assuming that means that you had like an oh crap moment. I'm not sure if that's what that exactly means, or if that was like your backup plan. Friend Germany's able to do a music class outside. It's too hot where we are in Florida. I feel like it's too hot in Kansas, but good times. Christine says, I was outside all last week. Flocks of geese flew overhead. A dog chased a bunch of chickens. It is an adventure. Yes. Over in the meadow, we are teaching music lessons. No. So while I do have the option to go outside, and I might try and do that, not planning on it right now. Okay, so let me talk through some things about the different kinds of lessons. So with the hybrid, so I've got my Zoom, which is going to kick off my week. I've got 2 in-person lessons with half of the class. And while those 2 are doing the in-class, the other kids who are at home are supposed to be doing self-paced, self-guided digital lessons. So I'm going to try and talk about that too, how I'm planning on doing that so that they can actually get through content. Who knows? Okay, so my Zoom stuff. I'm trying to do as much as I can to like a song or something that we can do all together that will inspire and move us forward. So I'm planning on doing stuff like Aiken Drum, and I've talked about that before, where you can learn the original Aiken Drum, and it talks about how the man in the moon and what he's made out of, and he's made of like different kinds of food. Well, the typical thing that a lot of people have done in the past is like you come up with other things, kid choice things that Aiken Drum is made out of, so they can have their own version of Aiken Drum that kids in that class chose, and you can draw it out and you can make it. I'm going to be doing these Zooms from my classroom, like the music room, and I'm really excited about that. I know there's some people who are doing their Zooms from home. I'm excited about it because I'm going to be going to the students' classrooms. So this is like my chance for them to see in my music room. And also I'll have all my instruments and all the stuff that I know works for me right at my fingertips, that if I need to like run across the room and grab a auto harp, I can. So I like being able to zoom from the room. So I'm thinking if we do Aiken Drum, I can teach them the first version. I can do like a screen share and do my favorite folk song set where I give a little bit of the history. We can learn the original and sing it, and then I can get student options, student things to make the new Aiken Drum, right? And I can either draw it out on the whiteboard, or if I have my document camera, I can draw it on the paper or whatever in front of me. There are a lot of options for that. But I want it to be something that is more collaborative, because we don't get to do that very much this year. I want it to be something that is more creative and fun, and I want it to have singing involved, because everyone's saying different things, it feels like, about singing. I am not going to be singing in the classroom with students. It's my personal choice. If I would sing, we do it outside with masks probably, because we just don't know. We just don't know. There's like one study on children singing and it's not conclusive, and so just not going to chance it. So I'm moving all my singing to online and digital, and so I'm going to try and put a lot of that in the Zoom. So that might mean that I'm taking an old song they did last year and redoing it in a new way this year. I am fine with that. Or maybe a song that feels lower than their level, but because we're doing it through tech and I know that that's going to be like a barrier, I'm okay with that too. The tech being a barrier. I want to use a song that's maybe a little bit easier if that means that I'll be able to do it more successfully. I hope that makes sense. So instead of choosing a song that would be right on the second grade level that works really well in the classroom, choosing a first grade, third or fourth quarter song and using that through the Zoom, because I know it will work maybe a little bit easier with that interface. Okay. I'm just checking my questions here really quick. But I also want to show a couple more things. Okay, so on the Zoom meetings, we're singing, we're building community. Another younger grade level thing that I'm going to do, Hop Old Squirrel, is a really fun one. So then the kids, it's really easy for them to learn. I could have my little puppet in my classroom. We could sing the song, learn Hop Old Squirrel. So me with my little puppet, my squirrel puppet, Skippy, he can do the thing. And then we can introduce a new word. So instead of Hop Old Squirrel, we could do Jump Old Squirrel, we could do Spin Old Squirrel, and the expectation being that the kids at home on the Zoom are doing the actions and doing the singing, and then they get to choose. So maybe, I call out one so-and-so, oh, I see that you just did the action so well, I noticed that while we were on Zoom, I could see you doing such a great job, you get to choose the next action. Or maybe I even have a word bank that I pull out, like 6 different options. I say, okay, choose which one you want. And give kids options to do that. Maybe we do a poll, we do a Flipgrid or something where they all get a vote on what the next one is. But it's going to be something that is a little bit more community driven and a little bit more creative, I hope. Where maybe we take something and we make our own little variation. Nancy asked, how do you sing with Zoom? Where their mics will be off and they'll be singing at home, and I'm going to assume they're singing, and maybe we could do a call and response, but there might be lag time. So I'm mostly just going to be like, we're all singing, but you're only going to hear me. But we're all singing, yay! But you're probably not going to be singing. You're only going to be hearing me. You won't be hearing each other right now. Or maybe I'll have one kid sing as an example or something like that, but it's not going to be a collective sing because of delay and technology problems. Okay, so those Zoom groups are going to be more collaborative, hopefully. They're going to be more interactive, hopefully. I'm also planning some think alouds where I use my document camera. One of the cool things about the Zoom platform itself, it doesn't necessarily work if you're doing Microsoft Teams or Google Meet or something, but I know Zoom, because my district is using it. If you have your phone or iPad plugged in, or even if you can AirPlay, you can share your screen. So that means if you're doing an app on your iPad, cool, you can share that. Or if you want to use your iPad as a camera, your iPad can become a document camera. So it can be sitting there, and whatever's underneath, whatever's in the camera's view will then be screen shared to the students. So I'm going to be planning on doing a lot of like think aloud. So like we might do a composition activity and I might think aloud and say like, you know, I could put a quarter note here, but I think I'm going to put a quarter rest instead because I want a little variety, or I'm trying to make a pattern. And so I'm going to show that to them and use that as a chance to like get questions from them and see what they're doing. And oh, do you want to share on your screen what you created? Or, you know, I'm hopefully more collaborative, more exciting lessons like that through Zoom. So then in person, what are we going to do in person? Well, the first thing I'm going to do in all of my classes, I'm going to do a digital tour down to the music room because I'm going to be in their homerooms. So I could either do a video, I could do a PowerPoint, I could do something like that, I could do a clips video, anything I wanted just to get them to see the music room because they're not in it. They might walk by it, you know, they might have been there last year, but it looks different because I'm a new teacher, right? So I'm going to show them like pictures of like me playing the ukulele or like me with a puppet, or maybe I'll do a video as I walk in and say, oh, and over here's the reading corner and over here is where the word wall is. And I want them to see it because on those Wednesday Zoom calls, I'm going to be in that room. So I want them to be familiar with what it looks like, how to get there, the things about it, so that hopefully then when we get back to being in person in the music room, they're not like, this is a brand new space and I have nothing about it. You know, so putting that out there. I'm also considering doing that as like maybe a self-guided, like a Nearpod or Google Classroom sort of, Google Slides sort of a thing. So if they wanted to go through with their parents later, they wanted to look at it later, they could always do that. That's just one of those things that I hope will help them connect to the music room itself and the things that are there. So that's one of the first things I'm going to do in all of our classes, either as a video or a PowerPoint. I'm not exactly sure how I want to do that yet. Still have time to figure that out because my first couple days are like school expectations or whatever. I'm not really teaching my content for a couple days. What things am I going to do in person? I'm going to make sure that we are up and out of our seats doing some sort of movement. That can't necessarily be crossed through the room, moving through the space, but we can do lots of non-locomotor movements. There are tons of songs that you can do that involve non-locomotor movement, or walking in place, or jumping, or skipping, or whatever in your spot. So there are a ton of books that I talked about in previous weeks that I could use. There are fun videos on YouTube, all sorts of stuff that you can do to get kids up and moving in their own spot. I'm also planning to break up my lesson into different segments because I have 50 minutes. It's a long time. And so what I'm structuring it is sort of like I come in, we do a remember last time sort of a thing. Maybe we'll do body percussion. Maybe they'll echo back and forth to me. Maybe then we'll sit down and do a seated body percussion thing, or maybe we'll do a pattern together. We'll do a steady beat. It depends on the grade, right? And then maybe we'll sit at our desk and learn a song, or maybe I'll have a book read aloud, or maybe then I'll have them do a quick game on their iPad, or maybe we'll do, something just so that we're breaking it up so it's not lots and lots of the same thing. Because I know that if I'm sitting for a long time, I'm going to get stressed, especially because they're in their chairs that they've been in for maybe a couple hours. So things to get them up moving. Maybe we'll go around the desk, maybe we'll sit under the desk, just stuff to get us out of that seat, to break up the thought process and get us into sort of a new mental space. Those are a couple thoughts for my in-person. Let me get look at a couple of your questions before I move on to my digital stuff. I think we got lots of those. Hula hoops are great to keep in a spot. Well, I'm going into their classroom, so I'm not going to put 15 hula hoops on my cart, but that is cool. If you're in your classroom, you need them to stay in a spot, or if there are hula hoops around, or you're in the gym or something, totally cool idea. I just know that I can't lug that from one class to the next, but you're exactly right. You can also get the poly spots, those little plastic things that just you can flip out as you go, and those are easy to clean, easy to use, and it gives them sort of a general area where they might go. I think I saw something on Instagram, maybe not. If you're using an iPad as a document camera but zooming from your laptop, can you switch both devices on the same meeting? Yes. So if you're the host of a Zoom and you're using your laptop to Zoom and you want to show them something on your iPad, if you are connected by a cord to your laptop, or if you can AirPlay, if you have two Mac devices, you can AirPlay. You can do that through Zoom. You can screen share either the screen of your laptop or the screen of your iPad. It's a cool thing I didn't realize you could do until recently. Okay, let's talk about online stuff. So the expectation for my students is, while I am teaching in person, the kids who are at home are doing a self-guided lesson. So some teachers in my district are choosing like choice board sort of things. Some people are doing like long pre-recorded videos. Lots of options, right? I'm choosing to use Nearpod. And if you don't know Nearpod, I'm going to show you one in just a second. But Nearpod is, it's sort of like Google Slides or sort of like a PowerPoint in that it has different slides of things, and on each slide you can embed all sorts of stuff, like a video, or you can embed bullet points of content, or you can put pictures. What I love about Nearpod is some of the interactive stuff, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But I'm using Nearpod. I could use Google Slides or something like that, just so that all the content is in one place. And so again, in this lesson structure, it's going to be lots of little pieces. There might be a song that we're going to sing and learn. We might learn the history of the song. We might do an online game. There might be vocal exploration. There might be singing. There's a video that relates to what we did. You know, all sorts of different chunks of things. And those will all flow together. The cool thing about Nearpod is you click to the next screen and it's the next thing. You click to the next screen and it's the next thing. As opposed to like on Canvas, if it's like on a page, you can have 7 different things. And you sort of more disconnected. This, it feels like one big presentation and you can sort of scroll through. And there's some cool interactive things you can do. If you're like, this sounds crazy, I don't know how to get started with this, I found a video that's getting started with Nearpod. It's a tutorial, and I put it on the links page. I also put some other tutorial things like, I did a video on how to embed my interactive games into Seesaw and Google Classroom. Put those there. There's an interactive thing on how to use Flipgrid. There's a tutorial video about how to, I mean, there are 5 or 6 different tutorial videos that I have referenced this last week that I put on the links page. So they're there for you if you want. Okay, and then one of the things, well, I'll show you the Nearpod here in just a second, and then you'll understand a little bit better. So let me flip this around. I'm always nervous I'm gonna like lose or shut this off or mess things up, but it always usually works. So let me see if I can show you my iPad. So the cool thing about Nearpod, well, there are several cool things, but okay. All right, if you can't see this, I'm so sorry. All right, my iPad's dark. Hold on, let me go turn that on. So the cool thing about Nearpod is they can do it like on a Chromebook, they can do it on an iPad, they can do it in lots of different ways. So my kids are all going to have iPads at home, and so they're going to be able to do this at home. So let me pull up. Okay, so here's what they see on Nearpod when they go to Nearpod. Well, this is what I see. My library, explore, join, create, reports. So I'm going to join a lesson. I've already... you can create your own lessons, your own set of slides. There are some Nearpod lessons in like the Nearpod library that you can borrow and use. I'm going to show you one of those Nearpod lessons from the Nearpod library right now. Sorry, I'm turning my mic around. Okay, so I'm going to show you one that I found in the Nearpod library. So I'm going to click join, and you get a little lesson code. Where's my lesson code? Let's see. So this is a pre-made lesson that I found in the Nearpod library. I'm going to add my name. And it's an overview of dynamics. Now I just pulled as is, and there's actually the first thing is a slide that's like, hey, if you're going to teach it, here's something you'd want to probably do. So this is for you, the teacher. I would delete that if I were going to give this to kids, but I'm not giving it to kids, so no worries. So the cool thing is that it has, so like this is just like a PowerPoint slide, right? Like header at the top, box in the middle for text. How are dynamics used in music? Great question, Nearpod. Let's see. So I'm just clicking through to see. Here are some learning objectives. If you have to post your icons or whatever, you can do that. Oh no, it doesn't do the swipe. Oh, that's sad, but I can do the click. Let's get started. We're going to start our class today watching a video about being loud and quiet. Okay, so then as you click through, now there's a video embedded. So the kids, they don't have to go out to YouTube. They don't have to go somewhere else. It's right here. So that's one of the things I like about Nearpod is that like once you have the video in the lesson itself, it pulls it from YouTube or it pulls it from wherever. You can use those links, and it's right there in the thing. Kids don't have to go to a different app or go somewhere else or go to a web page to do it. It's right here in the lesson. So let's say they watch the whole thing. Cool. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is from earlier. I thought it would go away. Draw a picture of somewhere you should be quiet and somewhere you could be loud. Well, this is cool too because kids like this sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm gonna make let's make like a water park. I don't know. This is a terrible drawing, and it's sort of a mess. You can also, in this, you can take a picture. So kids can do that if they have, their camera or whatever. Or sorry, that's pull a picture from wherever. You can also take a picture. Oh, look, here I am in my office. I'm going to take a picture. That's a place where I can be loud or quiet. Okay, so you can do, all sorts of things. Annotate. The options are sort of endless with this. You can create this exact thing yourself if you want. An interactive draw function for the lesson. So like as it goes through, you can keep going. Let's see. Oh, this is fun. You can poll the kids. So think about your classroom. What kind of voice level should you use? Loud. And then it polls. That's sort of fun. If you're doing this in a classroom all in person at once, you can do these polls. That's fun too. Nearpod lets kids do it at their own pace, or they can do it at a guided pace. So like if we were all in the classroom on iPads and we had our iPads in front of us, I could force the Nearpod to advance to the next slide, or they could wait to not advance to the next slide. So they can either do it on their own time, that's your choice, or you can do it where everyone goes together. Okay, so there are some really cool options here. There's another video that's in there. Let me keep going through. Oh, another video. There's another poll. There are just so many cool things. I wonder if it's going to show you the. There's some other like fun game things that can go in here too. Oh, use your favorite color to draw the symbol. Okay, did you do this? Because that's correct. But it gives you lots of cool options to make stuff, to make lessons interactive, to make them fun. This is one that is pre-done for you, but you can make your own lessons. So I don't know if I can show you that from this screen. Let me go back to me. Hello. Go to David Rao. Oh, I guess I gotta exit. Yes. Leave this lesson. I'm still learning Nearpod. So in my library so far, I've made, because I've got 2 days of digital lessons, I've made lessons 1 and 2 for each grade level. Oh, it's currently sorting them. There. So I've got 2 for first grade, 2 for second grade, 2 for third grade, and in those lessons I'm going to be embedding videos, I'm going to be doing games, I'm going to be doing whatever, so that they're there and available when kids are using them at. Okay, let me flip this back around and try and go back to my thing to explain sort of what's going to go into those lessons. So with my Nearpod lessons, I'm going to be doing for those digital lessons songs and going through favorite folk song like history and games and things. If a lot of times if I'm going to do a read aloud or a song, I'm going to record myself because I want them to have that connection with me even though they're doing stuff digitally. So I could maybe find a read aloud that someone else did online of a book, but I'm going to try and do myself. Or I could maybe find a cool video that, I don't know, Super Simple Songs has done of a song, but I'm actually going to record myself, maybe with a ukulele or piano, singing the song so that when kids go through the lesson, they see me over and over doing different stuff. What I found is you can upload all those videos to Nearpod, but that takes up a ton of space. So instead, I'm uploading all those videos to YouTube. I'm making them unlisted videos so that not anyone can just find them. They're there, but they're unlisted. And then I'm going to link those to Nearpod, and I hope that makes sense. But the reason I'm doing that is so that I'm not taking up space and memory on Nearpod. I'm doing it through YouTube. I hope that makes sense. But there's so many cool interactive things you can do on Nearpod. I could even use Nearpod on my in-person lessons if I wanted, if we all had the devices, or I could just use it as like a PowerPoint. But the thing about Nearpod and about my in-person lessons, I'm going to try and put everything into like that PowerPoint format so I can click through and go to the next thing, even if it's just a placeholder slide saying like body percussion time or whatever. I'm putting it all there so I don't have to keep flipping through my lesson book, so I don't have to go back and forth to my cart. I'm just going to have my clicker and it's going to go through the PowerPoint for my in-person lessons. So like, oh, that's next. Ooh, that's next. Cool. It's all embedded into one place, so I'm not flipping or searching or doing whatever. Nearpod is a really cool way to do that for an online version. I could do it for my in-person classes too, but I'm probably just going to do it for my online version. Okay, Nearpod's really cool. It's free. Kids don't have to, they can have the app installed on their iPad or whatever to do Nearpod lessons. They can also do them through a web browser, which is also cool. You can do Nearpod, so Nearpod Silver is like the basic level. You could do Nearpod Gold, which is like $10 a month or something, and you get extra perks and more storage and sort of stuff. I'm assuming I'm going to have to move up to Gold at some point so that I can get some of those things. And then your school can also buy Nearpod. That's really cool when your school does, so you have to worry about that. But Nearpod is really nice, and it is part of the suite of things that my county allows. So it makes it very easy for me to integrate, and it integrates into Apple Classroom and stuff like that too. So it makes life easy. Okay, so that's sort of like the idea about how I'm structuring things like that. Let me just see if there are any questions in here. Some Earpod? No, Nearpod with an N. Nearpod. Cool. Okay, so I think Nearpod's cool. It does take a little bit of setup on the front end, but there are some fun pre-made lessons for you if you want just options there, but you can really customize it and do a lot. So I think Nearpod's a cool thing. I love that it's so safe because they're just staying in Nearpod. They're not going out to a website. They're not going out to another app. It's very, very simple. So I like that too. Oh, and Tiffany said it'd be really great for subs. Yes, it would be great for subs, because even if the sub is just the one logging on and putting it up on a screen, they can click through it. That would be real. That's really a great idea. I'd not thought about that. When you were using Canvas, were you using the modules, or do you embed lots of things like Nearpod and Flipgrid? I embedded a lot of things. Yeah, Canvas is not really made for elementary, so it's not very simple to use. But when you can embed Nearpod into Canvas very easily. So when you're doing that, it makes your life a lot more simple. Okay, I have like 10 minutes. So I'm just going to go through like my kindergarten lessons so you can sort of see what that looks like and how I'm sort of adapting, right? Okay, so, well, kindergarten's not a great example because that Zoom, remember I start with a Zoom and I want to sort of introduce the lessons and stuff for the week. Well, it's kindergarten. So my Zoom for kindergarten is going to be like, good Lord, I hope we can all get on. Because it's like the first day that they're all like at home with parents trying to figure out how they're going to get on Zoom for the very first time. So I'm not anticipating a lot's going to come from that first Zoom session, but here's hoping. So whoever can get on, great. And then we're going to just do some simple songs, some fun songs, things that are that maybe they already know, some nursery rhymes, stuff like that. Just do several of those. Maybe I'll screen share a video. Maybe I'll show something else. Maybe I'll pull out my favorite puppet, or I'll pull out an instrument I love. I'm not planning on doing a lot in there because I don't know if even half of them will be able to get on. I don't know. So my expectations are real low for that first kindergarten Zoom. But for my in-person lessons for that week, so they're going to do the tour to the music room, the digital tour to the music room. We're going to do that in our classroom. And in the music room, we're going to find the puppetry, and I'm going to bring out my favorite puppet. Well, not my favorite puppet. I have too many puppets to have a favorite. I love them all equally. But one of my favorite puppets, a little tabby cat. She's going to teach them the copycat poem, and we're going to do copycat in their classroom. It'll be the first thing we do, where I do something and they echo, and I do something and they echo. We could do body percussion. We could do maybe a vocal glide, maybe. We could do faces. We could do body movements. We could do stand-up, sit-down. We could do spins. I mean, there's so many things you can do. The last thing we're going to do is a movement down into crisscross applesauce, and we're going to talk about that because you're always teaching kindergartners like how to live. So one of the things is crisscross applesauce. They need to learn that. So we're going to do crisscross applesauce. We're going to keep a steady beat on our knees. We're going to start. We're going to try. We're going to do an introduction to steady beat anyway. Engine number 9 is a lesson I always do with kindergarten. So that's going to be one of the first poems we do. Sitting crisscross applesauce, keeping the beat on our knees. Heather, I've done copycat like for the last 3 years on these. So if I'm so sorry to everyone else who is like, I've heard this. But Heather, yes, here, so it goes copycat, 1, 2, 3. Do what I do after me. Anything I do, you do the same. That's how you play the copycat game. And then it's, you could do any version of a poem like that if you want. Also, so anyway, sorry to everyone else who's like, I've heard that 100 times. But yeah, no, it's a really great sort of jumping off point. So engine number 9, I've got this fun book called Freight Train, which I read in last week's Musical Monday video. And that's going to be just a fun read aloud. It's going to be pre-recorded. It's going to be on the screen so that I can have like a vocal break. I can pull my mask down for a second and get a drink. I can step to the side. I can hand sanitize, whatever I need to do. Or, you know, try and console that one kid who's crying or, you know, whatever. I don't know what's going to happen. During Freight Train, pre-recorded. But I'm going to have the book there in case my laptop fails and I need to read it out loud. We're going to talk about musical opposites because that's one of the things that we do in kindergarten. So we're going to talk about loud, soft, up and down, what other opposites can you think of, on and off, you know, all sorts of opposites, and then especially musical opposites. And that's going to lead us to the book Music Is, which I shared about in, I think, the first Musical Mondays video of the year. Just happen to have it. Ooh. Here it is. And it has some great opposites in it or some contrasts. It also is fun to explain what music is. And then as backups, I'm going to have Peter the Rabbit. We could do I Saw a Little Rabbit poem. We could do beat keeping. I'm going to have a cowbell. I'm going to have a ukulele. Things that I can explain or talk about or do. I'm going to have a favorite video pulled up for YouTube that I could do. All as backup things if I need them, in case I need them. Because who knows? That's the first in-person lesson. The second in-person lesson, we're going to start again with Copycat. Tabby the cat's going to do the copycat. We're going to do a song from Lynn Kleiner's book called SOS Songs of the Sea, and the song's called Larry the Lobster. It's another fun thing where you can incorporate some steady beat, and then you can do some little Larry is running. You can do that all seated crisscross applesauce. You could do it standing. They could run in place. There's some fun integrations there, and I know I've shared about Larry the Lobster before. And I'm going to try and pre-record some of that, so that I'm not singing in front of them in class, or so that I'm not doing the whole lesson on the stage, so that I have a chance to breathe and take a second. Ooh, and then there's a fun song called The Waves, which is also from Lynn Kleiner's book, SOS Songs of the Sea. And the waves go up, the waves go down, the waves go rolling all around. And she has this beautiful recording of it that has like wave sounds in it. And she sings, and a voice on the CD sings, and we're going to have scarves, and we're going to do movement to the scarves. I talked to my nurse, and I said the scarves, each kid has their own scarf. We're not trading. We're not sharing. They're going to sit like 4 days between uses. And she was like, don't worry about it. If you want to take them home and throw them in the dryer, you can, but you don't need to worry about germs if that's your procedure. Yeah, cool. So I have enough scarves for every kid. We're going to do, and the cool thing about the song is that it has musical opposites too. Up, down, in, out, low, high, super fun. We're going to try and remember engine number 9. I'm going to pull out Peter, my rabbit. We're going to talk about the speaking voice. We might do a little poem about a rabbit. Have that in my back pocket just in case. There's another song on the SOS Songs of the Sea. I wish I'd brought it here. I could hold it up. Another fun song called Sandy Sand, which I know I've talked about before, but that involves egg shakers. So I'm going to bring an egg shaker again. I'm probably going to wipe them all down, but if they just sit for, my nurse said 72 hours at the most, they'll be fine. Germs won't live on them. Okay, cool. So we're going to do that if we need. And then I have a backup of the Fish That Could Wish book if I want it. All sort of themed on the ocean. That's our school theme for the year, so going for that. But all sort of things that are mostly talking about steady beat or musical opposites in some form or fashion, and introducing them to me, introducing them to to what I do. Those are my 2 in-person lessons for the first rotation. My online stuff, I have just enough time to talk about it. I'm going to do an introduction hello. We're going to sing hello back and forth. There's a cool integration you could do on Nearpod with Flipgrid. I keep saying different names of different programs. Sorry about that. But you can do a thing where like they can record themselves and submit it to you, so you could sing hello and they can sing hello back if you wanted. I don't think I'm going to do it with kindergarten, maybe first or second, maybe. But for kindergarten, it's enough that I'm going to say, okay, it's your turn. And they'll get to sing their, hello, Mr. Rao. There's a book, Peanut Butter and Cupcake. I shared that last year, and also I think a few weeks ago I talked about it again. Just a fun read aloud book that has a singing part in there. And it's also great because Peanut Butter is new to the neighborhood. I'm new to this school, and all the kindergartners are new to this school. So it's a fun connection to we're all new, and here's how you can connect with each other. It's a fun little book. We're going to do Open Shut Them, teaching you how to use your hands, because again, kindergartners need to learn how to do that. So it's fun that I'll pre-record myself singing that and doing that, and have the kids doing the actions and singing at home. I have a vocal exploration set of slides that I think I can do a screencast of myself recording myself, so they can see what my screen was on my iPad or computer. I haven't figured that out yet. Or I could just video myself at the smart board in my room, just doing that. That would be the easiest of all things. But a little bit of a vocal exploration, and then I'm bringing out Snowy, my Snowy owl, and she's going to tell kids about their singing voice, and she'll sing a little bit there, and she'll sing the song, "Who are you?" and they get to sing their name back. And that's all going to be embedded in a Nearpod lesson. So all the kids have to do is get to the lesson, which will be linked in my assignment for them, and then just click through. Video, interactive game, whatever, that's all sort of in that. And then the second online lesson of the week is another singing back and forth. The book Polka Dot Pants, Sing and Dance in Your Polka Dot Pants, is a fun little movement song for them. And sort of it's a kid favorite. This is written by Eric Litwin, who wrote the original Pete the Cat books. And so it'll be a fun one for them to click through and read. And there's a song in there, and it's just super cute. We're going to review Open Shut Them. We're going to learn where is Thumbkin, because again, we're learning about our hands and how to use them correctly, appropriately. Do a few more of those vocal explorations, and then a book called Dan the Taxi Man, which introduces lots of different instruments. And after I do Dan the Taxi Man, because I shared about this I think last week or 2 weeks ago, each character in Dan the Taxi Man comes with their own instrument. So there's Maureen with her tambourine, and there's Star with her electric guitar, and there's Ace with his upright bass, and who has a saxophone? Jerome with a saxophone, maybe, I can't remember. Claire with her snare. So they each have their own thing. So then after the book, after the read aloud part of the book, I'm going to have a slide with each instrument and maybe a little sound clip that they can click through and hear. So again, just sort of breaking it up, lots of books, lots of little different pieces that hopefully are reinforcing some of the things that we're doing in our classroom already. That's kindergarten. It's a lot of stuff. But again, with the in-person stuff, I'm planning on not getting through it all. Getting through as much as I can, but having more options than not. With the online stuff, I don't know what they're going to do. But having all those options there for them that are fun and exciting for them to try, I hope that they'll do it. I think that they'll do it. And because I think parents at home want options. They want more than just go and watch this video. So this is going to be more interactive and more, I guess, themed on a set. And again, a lot of those videos on the online stuff, it's going to be me demoing, not just like a YouTube video or whatever. It's going to be me, so that they'll feel like they're still getting some of that instruction from me. Okay, so I'm sure lots of folks have questions, and I don't know all the platforms. I only know what I'm using. And even then, it's so crazy because maybe my district will pay for a subscription account and yours won't, so we'll have different functionality. Or maybe we're using a different version of something, or maybe I'm only using it on iPads and you're using it, whatever. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to answer tons of questions. That's why I'm going to say, if you have some of those technical questions, go to our Facebook group, Every Moment Matters Music Education Community. Ask them those questions. I hope they'll get answered. But I hope this gave you an idea of what I'm planning and why. Next week, I'm going to go through more of my lessons for an upper grade so you can see sort of more of that and how that's going to work. Thanks so much for coming on a Monday night. If you have questions, I'm going to go back through the chat and try and answer some of those. But also, like I said, check out our Facebook group. There are lots of ideas there. And check out the links page. There are lots of hopefully good resources that I talked about in this video. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a really great night and have a great week ahead. Bye, everyone.